Now, I wonder how the computer just broke. Not my computer, but the computer in the house, per se. When we all had that one family computer, quote unquote, right? But the funny thing is, though, what? I'll put it to you this way. What's the value of looking at rotten.com, basically, and saying what? Who did what? You see what I'm saying? So, how do you beat that one? You look something up and then you blame me because you know past history of what? The computer that I know I personally broke, but literally I went into the BIOS screen and was just messing around with what controls I thought I could actually, not necessarily manipulate, but I just didn't know. That was the first time I ever seen a computer, per se. So, who gets home court advantage? I'll put it to you this way. What can you see right there? Right there. A little higher, a little higher, a little higher. Can you direct? Right there. I just blocked it. Camera? No camera. Camera? Either way. Camera, right? So, how do you beat that one in this case? You really, honestly, really can't. Because literally, somebody's trying to play somebody for a sucker. I ain't no sucker by far. But I'll give you some good money advice on this one. Beauty comes a dime a dozen, but what's it within our heart that actually allows you to control your beauty? Well, some say it's more attractive when you hold it down. But literally, what are you supposed to hold down? The fort or, quote unquote, what's around you if you in the fort? What's more important? Jesus. My feet look crazy, man. But I won't talk about that. Because literally, that's my sock, right? But if you imagine what my feet look like, Jesus only knows. But how can I say this? What's the value of just knowing what you know and just keeping quiet and just hoping for the best? Only God knows that answer, right? So, home court advantage is basically everybody's saying that I debo the computer XYZ. But literally, what they fail to realize is that my mission was to graduate, high school per se. Then somebody else tried to say, oh, you got to graduate what? College too. But that's before they actually knew or didn't know that I passed the ASVAB. So what's the value of silence? Only God knows that answer. But doesn't God sometimes ignore you for a reason? Just to see how you respond? And see if you're going to stay diligent? But literally, God only exists, quote unquote, if you allow him to. You get what I'm saying? But a man with no faith has no hope, yet a man with no hope has no faith, right? Why is that? You can call somebody atheist, but what is that stating? They still don't believe in God, but they have what they believe is what they're supposed to believe in, correct? So, how do you beat the fact that literally somebody just knows everything about you but literally knows nothing? Silence. And you just pay attention to everything that is basically taking place around you. That's the value of basically, what the hell is this? That's the value of basically being a military kid in this case. You have the option of just being quiet and just hoping for the best. But literally, only God knows what's best, supposedly. But that's if you're acknowledging human form as to the godly realm, per se. So, as everybody does know, my dad did say take care of my feet, but I've been taking care of my feet the best way I can. But literally, this is just a little going just way too far. Because literally, I got shit growing on my feet that literally is just, not necessarily saying nasty, but it's pretty nasty. And the crazy shit is, my feet smell a lot worse than this before, but didn't look this damn bad. But how can I say like this? Chili's McDonald could vouch for how that shit smelled. But only God knows what's actually going on within my feet. Because literally, people still like to serve cold shit. What's cold shit? Basically, how can I say this? Cold pork. Yes, you could cook cold pork, true. But yes, still, pork chops has a different cooking method as to, I would say, let me think what would be the best terminology to use. The ham is still pork, but yes, still it's cooked in a different manner. So how do you beat that? You really can't when Mr. Phillip knew what was accessed on that webpage on Rotten.com, which was what? A kid with what? Worms in a foreign country. But literally, I could eat pork, but it's as if you're a cook, you can always eat cold pork if you are the one cooking it, because you know the cooking process. You know to keep it refrigerated, potentially. But yet still, the menu did say what? Chicken. So you want to say I'm scared? I'm never scared. I'm always about my shit. But really, what's my shit? That's the scary part. The irony of what I just stated initially about the cold pork. The kid actually had a tapeworm so fucking long it was ridiculous. And it was coming out something that was literally a blasphemy. Or you say blasphemy? No. Blasphemy. So that's BLASHEMY. But how can somebody just tell everything if literally it's so much shit and attention to detail? Somebody actually try to basically say what? You're not you? That's the only way they could potentially win, because literally, if you're not you, only thing you have to do is quote unquote try to remember everything. But if you damn near died, how can you beat that? You really can't. Because literally, why would Brandon run to anything? He's the one that started the whole fucking process of hell. Right or wrong? But then, how can I say this? I guess Phillip was the mastermind because what? They all thought that I was a quote unquote junkie, if you want to call it that, but I don't even know how to beat it. Everything that I try to do, again, somebody tries to see past it, but literally, the only way they can see past it is if they know the ending result of what? Me dying, potentially. I said potentially. I ain't say me dying for real. Did I? I can call it John Doe, but why would you actually try to prove it? That's crazy, right? Why couldn't you see what it was unless you had to overly verify and just want to cross-analysis things? But if anybody else could see it, why would you not even consider it in this case? And basically saying losing the edge, quote unquote, or not going the extra mile. But yet still, even today at the MLK library per se, they basically all had Caucasian people, but why wouldn't it be black people that actually could basically invest or not invest? What's the issue with that? Are you that hungry for attention, or you're subjective for earlier investments because you know they're guaranteed and nobody else will back you on the other end? I can't define it honestly, but I call it that a blasphemy as well, because literally it's condescending when majority of the people that actually are in the library, that use the library, are black. So what do you say to that? White money is better than black money? And I'm not trying to be derogatory or belittling. I'm just letting you know what's perceived and what somebody else would potentially say if they were to be a quote-unquote racist, if you want to call it that as well. I don't know. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, as one would say. But literally, my feet are going through hell, and I'm trying to keep them alive because literally, when you have pork or anything that's sugar, worms feed off of sugar. And if you call it quote unquote, how can I say like this? Money in this case. What is quote unquote sweet to people? Money. Some people say they have money to spend, but literally, how do you have money to spend when literally there's people hungry And you're not basically helping them try to get to where they gotta go. So, the more you come at me sideways, the more you screw your own generation up. Because literally, no matter how you define it, you can't beat me. And I'm not trying to be cocky, but what I'm saying though is, military kids are trained to foresee. And literally, the more you actually do the wrong thing, it's actually more beneficial to me in this case. Because literally, when I'm dead and gone, you can't blame me for none of this shit because I warned you. That's the beauty of it. It coming to pass. And literally, you actually creating the new era of death beyond belief. What was the name of that show? Ripley's Believe It or Not? What happened to that show? I guess what Philip did was basically obsoleted because, how can I say this? Rotten.com, right? Fuck, man. I don't know what the fuck is this shit on my leg, but I don't know why I have a boil on there. But either way, we push, and we're going to continue to push. Who is we? Me, myself, and God. Not me, myself, and Irene, but me, myself, and God right now, because I've seen a lot of beautiful women. But it's not even the fact of being homeless. It's more the fact of what's taking you so long to approach me the right way instead of having me come to you in this case. In adult form and basically metaphorically speaking in adult form. I don't win, but how can I say this? I guess you value your money more than mine because literally, why wouldn't I be able to double or triple your money? Unless you know something that I don't know. And you basically just think that you're quote unquote high class. If so be it. That's you. I guess you wasn't meant for me. I don't lose. But I could just say this. I sent 2 quote unquote text messages to my child's mother that I know of for sure because I signed the birth certificate. And basically, what did Brandon say about his kids? What can he say about his kids? They're not his kids? Did he not sign the birth certificate? How did he get put on child support? Great question, right? But I guess that's that 100 that he knocked out of somebody's mouth or jaw, quote unquote. I don't get it. But that also goes back to what he said. I'm you and you're me, quote unquote, as well. Or you basically indirectly talking about me. I don't know how you putting it, but literally, if he's the one that's basically delivering this bullshit, quote unquote, how can anybody beat it if you already been through it or want to see how I survive and then basically say what? You want to renounce or run, but you call me on Facebook and you sign with this hot shit or whatever. Not even hot shit, but flames. And basically say what? You're hot because of a picture? But literally, what are you saying? You just put a flame by a picture. What are you saying? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. But you restore my computer just like miraculously, right? So that's basically stating what? It was something wrong with it, or you went through some old shit that literally I couldn't find or didn't want to find per se. But even more so, how did you open it? Great question, right? But let's see how you work your way out of this one since I'm you and you're me, but you'll never be me because your mommy and daddy's still alive. Bye-bye.